Hello everyone, welcome to the Deification and Supremacy Tournament. This is Division 3, and it's going to be a little difficult because these are both pretty interesting actually, but I think I'm going to go with this guy. He did found his own dynasty. Unfortunately, I don't have numbers for followers on him, so I don't know how that stacks up against this guy's 200 to 750,000 followers. So that, again, that's data that could be filled in more detail, in future tournaments. But for now, I am going to go ahead and go with the Incan Emperors for the first matchup, and this Narasi. I already forgot what his emperor name was. So I'm going to assume I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then here, it's unclear. But I do have kind of a bias toward the Incans. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it to them. So the Buddha falls again. The Buddhas in this tournament have not fared very well. They seem to keep getting matched up with some difficult contenders. But now we are going to move on to the second matchups, and we are getting into the Jewish messiahs are about to pop up out of nowhere, and we are going to have just a string of them, beginning with Sabbatai Zevi. He made an appearance in my Cult and Cultish video, which kind of started this whole tournament series. So I'm not even really sure what to do on that one. I think since Sabbatai Zevi has such a big influence, and his legacy still continues today, I'm going to go with him on that one. On this one, I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to go with the guy that lived the longest. Even though he was assassinated over a money dispute, I think I'll go with that. And then, of course, here I have to go with the first. And then I'm going to take this all the way out to the Elite 8 and give this again to the Incan Emperors. Being the dominant culture in that area and for such a long time, I think that makes the most sense there. Even though Sabbatai Zevi does still have a influence today, I do feel that the Incan Empire does as well. Obviously, the tradition of deifying their rulers has ended with the Spanish conquest, but that does seem to make the most sense. So, moving on to the next two matchups, we have Lobel versus another Jacob Joseph Frank. I could say all three of those. Then we have the Nepalese Kings versus Bernard Mueller. So switching back over to the profiles. Really rejected religious norms. Some of his followers were obligated to transgress as many moral boundaries as possible. At his height, it claimed perhaps 50,000 followers. So that is certainly a new take. So let's see. This one was Jacob Joseph Frank and Bernard Mueller. This one is not really sure. I think since this guy was ultimately excommunicated, I'm going to go with Bernard Mueller again with their massive piggy bank. So we'll go with that and move on to the next two matchups, which will close out Division 3. So let's get to it. Difficult. But I think since this guy ended up being the predecessor to an entire, essentially what has become its own religion, I think I'm going to give that first one to the Bab, and then I will give this second one to Muhammad Ahmed. So let's do that. And then, of course, since the Bab ended up having the bigger and longer lasting legacy, I'm going to go with him over Muhammad Ahmed. So that brings us to the final couple matchups here. And I think actually it's pretty clear here that the Bab is going to be over Bernard Mueller. Even though he does have a large bank account, I think the following in what ended up becoming the Baha'i faith, and even Babism is its own sect still to this day. I think that makes the most sense there, and that honestly is actually true in this matchup as well. So I do think I will have to give this to the Bab over the Incan emperors. Like I said, I am kind of biased toward the Incans. I do plan on doing a sort of a deep dive video on that empire at a later time. But unfortunately, historically, I'm going to have to go with the Bab in this matchup. So that brings us to the end of Division 3, or yes, it does. So we have the Bab in the Final Four, as you can see here. So he makes it to the finals. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Let me just zoom out all the way so we can see where we are at. So there you go. As I explained earlier, Muhammad is already in, and this is the original Muhammad. I know a lot of these Mahdis, they end up changing their name or adding the Muhammad name to change their name to Muhammad, or however it works. But this is the original Muhammad in the Final Four. So he awaits the end of Division 1. We have the Bab waiting for the end of Division 4, which is coming up next. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you will tune in. All right, bye now. There's lots of other videos to watch, so join me, subscribe, like the videos you like, share the videos you love, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, thank you. You are the fuel to the fire.